All right, guys. As promised, this lesson has numbers in it. Today we're going to talk about what standard deviation is and something called a 5-number summary. So this is very steppy. It is something that you will be able to emulate by looking at an example for me. I think some of you guys are going to like this because it's not that bad. So let's start with the data set. Now this data set, we're just going to do straight numbers today. I promise I'm going to stay away from a lot of words. And I'm going to go ahead and put these numbers in order just because I don't want to have to write them down twice. So say I've, collected this data and these numbers all mean something. And I'm just going to, the first thing you want to do is you want to rearrange the numbers in order from smallest to largest. So here's the set here. So 3, 4, 4, 6, 6, 7, 9, 12, 13, 13, Jesus, this is a long problem, 14, 15, 16, 17. Okay, I don't know what those numbers mean, but they were recorded and I need to use them for something, and okay, so there they are. So that's your first step, is always put them in order from the smallest to largest. Just as a habit, just go ahead and do that. So let's first of all talk about what the mean is. You need to know how to find the mean of the data. And that's literally, you're just going to add, and you're going to divide by the number of terms, so the number of pieces of the set of data. Okay, so I've got my calculator handy, and I'm just going to add 3 plus 4 plus 4 plus 6 plus 6 plus 7 plus 9 plus 12. Jesus, why did I pick this example? 13 plus 14 plus 15 plus 16 plus 17. All right, so it looks like, if I didn't add it wrong, that those all add up to 139. And there are what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 pieces of data. So 139 divided by 14 is about 9.9. So 9.9 would be the mean of the set of this data. I know you guys have learned this before. Okay, so the next thing I need to do is find something called the standard deviation. All right, now this one is the process, okay? So the standard deviation is a number that describes how spread out my numbers are. And statisticians just use it to decide whether or not the set of numbers is a good set of numbers or it's not very consistent, and that's what the standard deviation is used for. So let's talk about how to find the standard deviation. Now, we've already did step number 1. We found the mean. Okay, right? We already know that the mean is 9.9, and that's what we consider the average. Step number 2, we're going to subtract it from the mean and square it. So step number 2, do each number minus the mean, and then we're going to square it. Okay, so I'm going to make that list, and I'm totally fixing to use my calculator here. Now, honestly, it doesn't matter if you do 3 minus 9.9 or 9.9 minus 3. Okay, so then step number 2, I'm going to do that right here. So again, I'm just going to go down, and I'm going to do minus 9.9. Minus 9.9, minus 9.9, all the way down. And as I do that, I'm going to square them. All right, so like for the first one, I'm going to do, if I can use my calculator, 3 minus 9.9, and then I'm going to square it. Now, I know all of these answers should come out positive. Why are they giving it to me like that? Are going to be positive, right, because I'm squaring them no matter what. So the first one is 47.61. All right, now step number 3, I'm just going to go ahead and write down 2 birds, 1 stone kind of thing. We want to add those together. So we're going to add what we just did in step number 2. So I'm going to kind of do that as I go. All right, so 4 minus 9.9 and then square it is 34.8, and I have 2 of those, right? So plus 34.81 plus 34.81 Then I'm going to do 6. 6 minus 9.9. At least some of these are repetitive. Again, I'm going to square that. And I get 15.21. Again, I have 2 of those. All right, I have 2 6s. All right, then I need to do the 7. So I'm going to kind of mark them as I go, because if I don't, I'll forget. So I did the 2 6s. Now I'm going to do the 7. So 7 minus 9.9. I'm going to square that. And I get 8.41. Okay, so I only had 1 7. So 9 minus 9.9. Squaring that. I get 0.81. So I did that one. Then 12 minus 9.9. Square that. Get 4.41. Should have totally picked a smaller one. It's okay. 13 minus 9.9. Square that. I get 9.61. Now again, I have 2 of these, right? Because I have 2 13s. So I'm going to just start on the next line. Plus 9.61. Plus 9.61. 14 minus 9.9 squared is 16.81. Almost done. 15 minus 9.9 squared is 26.01. 16 minus 9.9 squared is 37.21. And then my last one is 17. Thank goodness. 17 minus 9.9. Now there is software that does this, and I will happily show you guys how to do that next week, given the opportunity. But for right now, we do have to know how to do this by hand. So 50.41. Okay, so that was step number 3. Find the mean, then subtract each number from the mean and square it, and then we're going to add all these up. So now I'm going to hope to God I don't mess this up in my calculator as I'm adding these all up. 15.21, let's see, I got that one twice. And then 8.41 twice, nope, just once. 0.81 plus 4.41 plus 9.61, which we do have twice, plus 16.81 plus 26.01, 37.21. Oh, my calculator's fixing to tell me no. 50.41. All right, so I added all those together, and again, hope to God that this is right. I got 310.94. Okay, so I just added all of that together, and again, that was step number 3. Now, step number 4, I'm going to write here. You're just going to divide that number by the number of terms, just kind of like what we did with the mean a minute ago. So we already know that there are 14 terms, right? There are 14 numbers. So I'm going to do 310.94 divided by 14. Okay, so I'm going to do that. So divided by 14. And I get 22.21 for this one. Just to let you know, because this is going to pop up later. It's not in this lesson, but it's going to be in a later one. This number here for step number 4, dang it, sorry, is called the variance. When you get to step number 4 and you've done all of that adding and dividing and all that fun stuff, it's the variance. Now what I want is the standard deviation, which leads me to step number 5 and the last step, thankfully. You're going to take the square root of whatever you did in step 4. Okay, so in this case, I'm going to do the square root of 22.21. So let me do that in my calculator. And I get 4.7 when I round it. So 4.7 hooey is the standard deviation. So that was a lot. But that's how you find the standard deviation. Now Now what that means is that on average, each one of the pieces of data is about 4.7 away from the mean, which is actually what we just found. Okay, so that's one thing you are going to have to find the mean, which is easy, and then I will promise I will never give you one this long to find the standard deviation and the variance of, but you do need to know how to do the standard deviation and the variance. And the last thing that we're going to do today is we're going to find something called the 5-number summary. It can also tell us how the data is spread out, and it is so much easier than what we just did. Not that that's hard, it was just it was long because we had all those numbers to add up and whatnot. Okay, so here are the numbers here for this example. So 3, 4, 9. Again, I'm going to go ahead and write these in order so I don't have to write them twice. 14, 15, 19, and 25. Okay, so again, these are numbers that signify something. Maybe it's ages, maybe it's shoes. No, it wouldn't be shoe sizes, that's a 25. Maybe it's the cost of something, but those numbers are some kind of set of data. Okay, so here's the 5-number summary. It's so easy. First of all, again, make sure that they're all in order. And then what you're going to do is you're going to find the median. So I need to know 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So there actually is a number in the middle, and that would be 12. So like physically, it's the middle number. So 3 is the minimum. Obviously 25 is the maximum. And 12 is the median. Okay, so that's 3 of your 5 numbers for the 5-number summary. Now to find the other 2 numbers, what you have to do is called the upper and lower quartile, or sometimes quartile, the first and the third quartile. That's what it's also called sometimes. I usually call it the upper and the lower because it makes sense. So obviously 12 is our median. So I'm looking at these numbers right here. It's the number that's in the middle. Well, if you notice, I don't have a middle number, right? There are 4 numbers. So I need to figure out what's in between 4 and 9. So in my calculator, in my head, whatever, I'm going to quickly do 4 plus 9 divided by 2, which of course is 13 divided by 2, right? And so that would be 6.5. So quartile 1, or the lower quartile, is 6.5. Same thing on this side. Between 15 and 19, I need to know what's in the middle on that side. So I'm going to do 15 plus 19 divided by 2. What is that, 34? Yeah, divided by 2, so that's 17. So quartile 3 is 17. So those are the 5 numbers in the 5-number summary. If I wanted to make a box and whisker plot, I could do that. A box and whisker plot, in case you don't remember, because that has probably been a very long time since you've done one, is where you make a number line. I'm going to put 3 at the bottom, and I don't want to count by ones because that's a lot. So I'm going to count by, well shoot, I'm just going to go ahead and count by 3s. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. It doesn't matter what you count by as long as they're evenly distributed. 24.
Mr. Belcher's fast and Mr. Deeks fast.
And then 27. So I actually could probably erase the last half of this line. Like I don't need that back there. I don't think it's going to let me do that without erasing the whole line. Yep, let me redraw the line. It's all good. Okay. So I just made a number line. And again, I chose to count by 3s because that way I didn't have to make my number line so long. So a box and whisker plot is where you take the median, which is 12. And that's going to be the middle of the box. And 6.5, we're going to obviously have to estimate it's about right here. And 17 would be like right here. Right, that's the quartile 1 and 2. So there's my box and whisker plot. Or my box of the box and whisker plot. And then you have your minimum, which is 3. And then your maximum 25 would be like right here. And what that does is it shows us that, see how all of those little pieces are almost, they're pretty close in the same size. Now, obviously, each little piece is a little different. When I say each piece, I mean like this is a piece, this is a piece. I'm trying not to do, oops. Let's do that again. This is a piece, right? So when I say pieces, that's what I'm talking about. Like that's a piece. And that's a piece, right? So those pieces are all pretty similar in size. Now the upper one's a little longer. That just means that the data's a little bit more spread out on the top end. Okay, so again, what we're doing with these numbers today is talking about how the numbers are spread out. So one way to describe that would be doing the standard deviation, which was all of that adding and subtracting and dividing. And another way is called the 5-number summary whenever we're looking at it more of a where is it placed kind of situation. All right, so I want you guys, this is what you get to do. I want you to do this one right here. Let me find, I just had it. I promise I'm not going to give you that many numbers. So here we go. This is your example. I want you to try this one. I'm going to come back tomorrow and ask you what the answers are. 9, 15, 17, 21, 23, 31, and 33. So I want you to tell me what the mean is. I want you to tell me what the standard deviation is. And I want you to tell me what the 5-number summary is. And I will see you guys tomorrow.